Hello, I am the enthusiast, and today I'll be reviewing my number one roller coaster by B&M, and that is Montu at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Now, this is a ridiculous invert with some of the best elements on any coaster, in my opinion. This is one of the few times that I think inversions are better than airtime. I mean, this ride is insane. It's a monster. Now, quick disclaimer, when I rode this, I rode it once, and I rode it in the front row. And that's the ride I'm basing this review off of, and these are going to be my opinions for when I wrote it. All right, now we got that out of the way. All right, here we go. So when you start with Monty, you start up going up this massive lift hill, which is 150 feet, which is really high for an invert. But so you come off that drop and you get thrown into a vertical loop. I mean, literally just completely thrown into the loop. This loop, it's not the best loop on a coaster, on an invert in my opinion, but this loop is massive. So the G-forces are not as intense as other loops in my opinion, but the forces the loop has are sustained for longer. So you're just pinned against your seat, and that's a theme of this ride. You are pinned to your seat for pretty much all of this ride. So coming off that loop, you go into an element. I know a lot of people say it's a throwaway element. I don't understand why. I love Immelmans. I think Immelmans are the best inversion on any invert. They are insane. I mean, that feeling of just being ripped upwards is insane. And this isn't even the best part of the ride. I mean, you're just being thrown into your seat before you get whipped out of that. And you come out of that and you get thrown into a zero G roll. It's a nice whippy zero G roll, but nothing else really notable about that. Before you come into easily the best part of the ride, the Batwing. Oh my god, I love this. To be 100% honest, when I rode this for the first time, I had no expectations for this ride. Most of the time, I don't really have expectations for the rides I go into. Sometimes I just like to go in and experience them. And when we were going through the Batwing, first half of the Batwing, since we were in the front row, you get pulled up and whipped down, like just straight up whipped down, which is insane by itself because the Batwing looks really small. And when you go through it with so much speed. And it helps that when you go into the Batwing, you get pulled underground. So not only did you get thrown in the Batwing, but you gain more speed as you dip into the ground. Before my favorite part is the exit when you completely get ripped and the blood rushes out of your feet. And the positive G forces just destroy. It is such a chaotic and insane element. It is one of my favorite elements on any coaster, and it's one of the reasons why I love elements so much. I mean, you're riding it and you just get thrown up and you're just shoved against your seat. It is one of the strongest moments of positive G-force I've ever felt. Before you come up into the brake run, and this is another fun part of the ride. I wouldn't consider this part of the ride to be as intense as the first half, but that doesn't mean it lets up either. Now, this is the part where you start diving in and out of terrain, which is incredible because of the fact that they use the terrain to go underground, the speed of the ride does not slow down because with most coasters after the mid-course brake run the ride slows down and normally the rest of the ride isn't as intense. Montu, no, you're gonna pick that speed right up as you dive into a trench. There is a vertical loop in the trench which actually looks really small again. It has an element that delivers really good forces. I don't think it's as good as the first vertical loop, but it's still really good. And then you fly. There are a couple more turns. I mean, the turns, and in my opinion, I thought the turns, like when you make the turn, they pull a bit of force initially, and then they let up a bit. But and then you get thrown into a corkscrew, and that corkscrew is nice and whippy, and it's exactly what you'd want from a corkscrew on an invert. Before you wind your way around to the brakes. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I know a lot of people like Montu because of the theming and the ride's insane overall. But to be 100% honest with you, as a coaster enthusiast, and I don't care much for theming. I know this might upset some people. I know a lot of people love highly themed attractions. I'm not saying theming is bad. I'm saying when I ride a coaster, I'm not looking around. When I'm riding a coaster, I'm focusing on the ride, you know. I mean, when you're riding a coaster, you're not sitting there looking around saying, oh, I'm staring at grass. No, you're focusing on the ride. I know there's not like Like rides like Black Mama and Nemesis have elements where it looks like, oh, your feet are going to slam into the terrain and stuff. I don't think Montu needs that. I mean, it has the theming with the second half, you know. But like even with Montu, I don't think there's that feeling that your feet are going to slam into anything. I know there's a couple elements that look like that, like the Immelman looks like you're about to hit the building in front. But I like Montu's theme. I think the theming adds it up a bit, but theming's not really what I look for, so I don't really care much for that part of it. But as the ride experience goes, this ride experience is insane. It is my favorite invert, and to be honest with you, I don't think any invert will be able to beat this. I don't think there's another monster invert out there that can beat this. I know there's inverts people rate higher, like mainly Nemesis and Pyrenees, but I'd be surprised if they could beat the intensity of this. I mean, if they don't have a Batwing, they ain't gonna beat Montu, because no other ride pulls off a Batwing like Montu. This is the Enthusiast. This is my review of Montu. Now, if you've ridden Montu, please tell me in the comments down below what you thought of it, because I'd like to know what you guys think of it. Because as much as I'm telling you what I think about it, I know my opinion is not universal. I know a lot of people. I know people have different opinions, so I'd like to hear what you guys think of this. And until then, this is the Enthusiast. Goodbye.